better bring it if we debating going toe to toe. No holding back, I'm speaking the facts. Let me introduce you to the dopest show. Nerdy D and Milwaukee Mike, bringing the energy. If you a fan of wrestling and especially WWE, this is the Casual Wrestling Show. Casual Wrestling Show. We got opinions, we letting them know. Casual Wrestling Show. Hey, ain't no holding back.
What's up, guys? This is the Casual Wrestling Show with Mike and D. I am Nerdy D, joined as always by the one, the only Milwaukee Mike. Each and every week, we bring you fast-paced hot takes for your listening enjoyment. Today, we're going to touch on everything in pro wrestling, including Mike educating me on the top WWE titles of all time. But first, Mike, let's start off. The big talk in the wrestling world right now is the debate over Liv Morgan. Some people love her, some people hate her, lots of people are indifferent about her, but you proposed the question to me, and I'm going to send it right back to you because that's how we do. But are we witnessing the apex, the peak of Liv Morgan's career right now?
She's 29 years old. So, I mean, I guess you could kind of consider her still young. But I think in terms of like her big run, this is the peak. You're not going to get higher than the storyline that they're creating right now. Now, we don't know where it's going and how it will end and whatnot, but you would have to imagine that her having a world title, being involved with one of the top factions to maybe ever exist in the WWE, with one of the top other women in your division, this is gonna be the peak for Liv Morgan. Now she may have other runs, other small runs. She might get a tag team title, with somebody. She might, get a small run with another title down the line. But in terms of like what she'll be remembered for, every superstar has that like one moment, whether it's a WrestleMania match or a storyline, whatever. This is gonna be what Liv Morgan should be remembered for if she executes it right, as well as the WWE.
So yeah, as much as I take jabs at the IWC and at Liv Morgan, the reality is I think Liv Morgan is still young enough that if Triple H keeps throwing her in the fire, she's eventually going to learn by getting burned. So I'm going to flip and go the other way a little bit, Mike. I think that the reality is, if she can stand the heat, if she can take all the criticism from people like you and me who continue to come on and put her under a microscope, I think the possibility is she could get better. And I think that this older, I hate saying older because that's, but there is an older generation of women like Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch that are going to age out very quickly. And then we're going to have this next generation come up, which is the Cora Jades, the Tiffany Strattons, the Roxanne Perez. And I think that Liv Morgan is going to slip into a crack of that in-between, and she's going to find success in that moment. So while I think this is going to be a big run for her, I can see a world where she's just more experienced than everybody, and she becomes that kind of veteran, because the reality is she is the same age as a lot of these NXT girls. And so we put her in an unfair spotlight sometimes because we're comparing her to Becky Lynch. We're comparing her to Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, these people who are mega stars. And the reality is we have to be a little bit fair and compare her to the maybe Cora Jades and the Tiffany Strattons, the people that are in that same age range. I think, Mike, it's possible to fail at something enough that you just finally stumble into the correct way to do it. And there's no doubt, right? She's got the look.
Yeah.
She's a likable person. It seems that within WWE, from what I've seen with her on like Xavier Woods show and stuff like that, she seems to be extremely liked by wrestlers. So I can see this world where she slips through that there's just going to be a transition, and we're not going to really see it coming, but like, we see Becky maybe towards the end, and Charlotte getting injured more often, and Natalia's going to phase out. And then that roster is going to look very, very different at some point. And at some point, we're going to look up and go, Liv's the veteran. Liv's been here the longest, along with Rhea. But I think if WWE adds, they're talking about adding a women's mid-card title. You've got two world titles. Unfortunately, I think Liv will have multiple world title runs. I do believe that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could see a space or area in which, she becomes the veteran and, she kind of takes the Becky Lynch role.
Exactly.
Where, she's inserted here, case glass breaks, whatever not. So I could see that happening. But I think in terms of like the bigger storyline, the bigger picture,
I agree.
I think this is probably going to be the apex in terms of what she'll be presented.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. This is definitely the audition. This is like, if you fuck this up, then everything I said is null and void. If she knocks this out the park, if she gets in there, because what I've said is Rhea Ripley's going to expose a lot of things when she comes back, right?
Oh yeah.
Because Liv has certain crutches that she can stand on when she's in the ring. She's usually the more attractive superstar, which gets the IWC all excited, right?
Yeah.
With Rhea Ripley, it's like there is that group of guys. I don't consider myself to be in that group, but there's a group of guys who find Rhea Ripley to be like the most attractive girl in WWE. So that evens out. Then you talk about in ring, Liv can't touch Rhea. It's not even close. On a microphone, Liv can't touch Rhea. So there's going to be a lot of things exposed. We talked about like when Rhea comes back, Rhea's the baby face.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
How does Liv handle? There's going to be genuine heat when Rhea comes back.
I agree.
And so how does Liv handle that situation will be interesting. So I'm with you. I think it's kind of a two-pointed question in the fact that this could be the biggest moment of her career, but if she steps up and surprises us all, she may gain the favor of Triple H and down the road, like we said, when she's a veteran, she may get those weird opportunities that exist, like you said, to transition a Tiffany Stratton or somebody else into like they're not quite ready.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, Mike. So the other big thing that's been kind of running around is the appearance of Jordynne Grace on NXT and the presumed, I don't know that there's been anything really official, right? There's just been kind of back and forth talked about, like there's a partnership in place. Stars can go either direction. But the reality is I want to know, what are your expectations for this seeming agreement between TNA and WWE?
I think, it's interesting to think about because the way that they've got it set up right now with Jordynne Grace going to NXT as opposed to the main roster with the main shows, I could see that being a thing. Right. Yeah. I could see occasionally a TNA star showing up in NXT because I would assume that NXT and TNA are kind of an equivalent of each other, right?
100%.
Like in terms of like TV and like exposure and kind of just the overall gist of how it's run.
Yep.
So I could see a situation where every now and then insert TNA here or we'll send NXT over there. I could see a situation like that. I can also see a situation where maybe once in a while someone gets transitioned to the main roster. It would be interesting. Now, this is just something that kind of crossed my mind today. Could Survivor Series, could that turn into a TNA versus a WWE kind of thing? I don't think that would happen anytime soon, but I think the format of it is intriguing. Now, it would take a lot of work in terms of introducing those TNA stars to the WWE fans and vice versa. Well, I guess maybe more so the TNA to WWE, not WWE to TNA, because I'm sure that WWE is more,
recognized.
Right.
Yeah.
But I could see a situation where that can potentially be a situation, but I don't think it's necessarily a reality. I think it'd be more of NXT every now and then, maybe Royal Rumble every now and then, just kind of sprinkle them in here and there. But I don't see a huge thing like a forbidden door, like AEW tries to do, but it'd be interesting to see what happens over the next couple months or years.
So I'm going to take what you said and I'm going to expand on it because I have the same feeling as you. I just have it. It's a little different in how I'm going to tweak it. I think Survivor Series weekend, not WWE versus TNA, but you do bragging rights for NXT and you do NXT versus TNA and you lead that into your Survivor Series. I don't ever foresee a world where TNA superstars just invade the main roster. There's no benefit for WWE in that, right? This is going to be a weird revolving door that only goes certain directions. Like you said, TNA stars will show up in NXT. That benefits both companies.
100%.
TNA gets to have extra exposure with huge ratings. NXT gets to borrow talent that they don't have that are a little more, TNA people are a little more veteran-ish. They're typically people who are kind of in between. Like Jordan Grace, I can easily see transitioning to main roster WWE. And I think that's a part of this. I think WWE knows this is now another talent pool that we can pull from. And in exchange for that, I do see the door swinging from WWE main roster to TNA. I see AJ Styles going to TNA and having another run. I see Bobby Lashley going to TNA and having another run because it basically right now what WWE has is they have this influx on the roster of so many people, and there's just the way Triple H books, there's not enough time. You got 5 PLE matches, and on SmackDown, sometimes you're getting 4 matches a night. So there's just like Shinsuke Nakamura is non-existent now.
Yeah.
And so you really have to find things for these guys to do to keep them happy, or else no matter who you are, if you sit around long enough, you start to get disgruntled and you start to feel pissed off. Well, now I can send you to TNA. Essentially, look at what Naomi did, right? Naomi walked out the door, went to TNA, had this run that built up confidence, made her a better wrestler, and then she came back. Triple H just looked at that and said, oh, that's a good formula. We can make that work. We can send Bobby Lashley over there, let him fight with their champion, Moose. Let him win the title, go back and forth, drop the title, come back, and it just benefits everybody. I just don't foresee that door ever being like a TNA star going straight to main roster. I think they have to take the route from NXT back up, and that's the expectation that I have from it. I love it. I love it from a standpoint that I think it's a little bit of a fuck you to Tony Khan, to be honest with you, right?
A little bit.
Because the Forbidden Door has been synonymous. Tony Khan, when Vince McMahon was in charge, he took that term, Tony Khan did, and he made it his. We're the company that opens the door, right? Now who can they open the door to? New Japan Pro Wrestling? And you know how I feel about that. New Japan Pro Wrestling guys don't move a needle.
Right.
TNA wrestlers, look, I mean, WWE gets access back to Dolph Ziggler. They get access back to Mustafa Ali, but you don't have to pay them.
Right.
They're being paid by another company. I think it's a phenomenal idea, and my expectations are that it's just going to be this circle that kind of works.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it develops and, what the direction is as time goes on.
Yeah, worst case scenario, what? You just close the fucking door. It's just, all right, that didn't work.
Right, exactly.
All right, Mike, third question of the day here is I wanted to talk about what are your thoughts right now? Apparently, we're getting all these news articles of like Becky Lynch's contract runs out this Saturday and she's working without a new contract, or Chad Gable's the latest. Chad Gable's, in the middle of an epic heel turn, yet his contract ends Saturday. I want to get your opinion on WWE, seemingly, I'm not going to say they are, but it's being reported that these contracts are running out while these guys and girls are in the middle of storylines. What are your thoughts on that?
It's hard to really to say, honestly. I think a part of it, or a large part of it, is I think these guys and girls are locked up. And honestly, I think it's just more of let's get people talking, let's get people watching, let's get more attention over here to see what's going on, what they're saying during Raw or SmackDown. It boosts our numbers. It gets people talking about that particular individual. And it stirs the pot, right? Obviously, when Becky Lynch is now a free agent, what's a W for WWE? Oh, well, there's rumor that she's going to get a bag from Tony Khan in a contract, when in reality, it's probably already pen to paper. And that's a W for WWE, right? Like, I think that's kind of what's going on here, right? Like, it's a little cat and mouse game right now, and I could be wrong. I don't think you are. You're going exactly where I'm about to go. But listen, man, Becky Lynch is not leaving WWE. It makes zero sense at all for her career. It just none. What WWE fans are not going to jump over and watch AEW religiously. It's just not a thing. It's not a thing. So Becky Lynch knows that. So she's not going to take her brand to that company and hope that people jump ship with her. She's not dumb. She's a smart businesswoman. So I think it's one of those things that, hey, let's stir the pot. Let's get people talking. Cat and mouse, done deal. benefit WWE, pen to paper.
I'm with you. I'm gonna double down. It's not even stirring the pot. This was Tony Khan's fuck up. Tony Khan played this game. He did this with MJF. This was his design. Was, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get MJF to sign. I'm gonna pay him a ridiculous amount of money, but we're gonna fuck with WWE by making it seem like this guy who they want, which they've never really shown interest in. It's us that's always been like, oh, what if? But we're going to make it seem like he had an opportunity. He didn't sign. He got a tattoo. Like, the reality is, I think MJF was locked up a long time ago. I think he was 100%. Injured, and they did exactly what you said. And I think Triple H said, all right, fuck you. I can do the same thing. And I've got way more people I can do this with. So you won't play this game? Cool. We'll just say Becky Lynch's contract is running out. Guess what, Tony Khan? You can't have her. There's no chance. There's nothing you can do. Right? He goes, let's do it with a guy who's like on the uprise. Let's do it with Chad Gable. You can't have him. You're not going to sign him. Here's the reality. Triple H knows at this point, Tony Khan's a fucking nutbag. If he's paying MJF $15 million, that's what's being reported. $15 million a year. Mike, tell me that the talent gap between Chad Gable and MJF, that makes Chad Gable like a $10 million a year guy in Tony Khan's eyes.
Close to.
Right? I mean, you go Mike for Mike, MJF, I give him a slight nod. But when you go in-ring work, Gable takes the crown. Gable's on the come up. Gable's going to be a huge heel. And so you don't think Triple H knows if there was really a bidding war that Tony Khan's dumb enough to offer like $12 million, and Gable's just not worth that money. Nothing against him. Take your bag, dude. But that's just unreal. When fucking Brock Lesnar makes $12 million a year, you can't justify this. Like, Tony Khan has reset the market with this $15 million deal for MJF. Of course you got a tattoo. I get the tattoo on my forehead for $15 million a year.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That. So what you said is exactly right. Cat and mouse, this is a fucking game. This is Tony Khan played dirty. I'm going to make it look like we re-signed. But he doesn't have anybody else to do it with. It's the same thing he's done with Mercedes Moné, Will Ospreay, all these people. He leaks out to the media that there's negotiations and there's these fights going on, and you never hear anybody in WWE talk about like, yeah, no, we were really pursuing Sasha Banks. What I hear is things like, oh no, she was difficult. We didn't want her back. She caused problems in the back. So I think this was created by AEW, and this is just Triple H going, cool, I can do it too. I'll do it with Gable, and I'll do it with Becky, and we'll probably see this worked into the storyline with Gable, to be honest with you. As he becomes disgruntled, he's going to say things like, I'm not under contract. I can go anywhere I want.
Right.
And that just works to build that asshole character.
It's comical to me that people think people are going to jump ship. Like, Gable literally this week progressed his storyline. He's in the back talking with the Creed bro. But yeah, he's gonna leave next week. Just leave. Go, come on, man.
Just leave. Just like, you know what? And really, to the company who is notorious for taking guys, giving them 2 or 3 matches, and then going, we're done. We don't need your services anymore. You can go sit over there. Or you're a guy who is literally being set up. I don't know who's the bigger heel right now in WWE than Chad Gable. You're basically slotted to be number 1. But yeah, no, I'm gonna bounce. I'm gonna head out. At this point, Mike, I mean, I keep saying this, and the IWC hates it, but the reality is, outside of Tony Khan showing up at your house with a truck full of money, there is no reason for people in WWE to make the jump unless WWE just doesn't want them.
Sure.
Like, there's no other reason. You can make an argument, well, AEW's on the come up. I don't think you can make that argument anymore.
I don't think so either.
All right, Mike, it is time for the part of the show where we do the casual list, which we are now transitioning to Mike's list, because it's been proven the last couple of weeks, I really don't know shit about wrestling. I'm just good at talking shit. So I think it's more appropriate that we do this list. You educate me on whatever topic we're talking about, and then I'll just say some real wild shit to make myself look like an idiot. But this week, we are doing the not world titles, WWE titles. Now, a question for you. Is this what they look like, or the prestige of the title, or is this everything all-encompassing?
This is it's on TV, you see it in person. Damn, that's a good looking belt.
Okay, so this is strictly looks. I can play this game with you. I can play this game with you. Even though a couple of these I'm going to have to look up on my phone because I don't know necessarily what they look like. But let's go.
I got pretty legendary belts on this list here, right? So
I recognize the names at least.
Okay, that's a start. That's a start. So, the first we'll go 1 to 8.
Okay.
And then I have an honorary mention.
Okay. Wait, no, so let's go 8 to 1.
8 to 1?
And then you can hit me with honorary mention.
Okay. Okay. So number 8 we have checking in is the current World Heavyweight Championship.
So this is the big this is
Damian Priest.
The new version of this boy right here.
Correct. That's correct.
I like that belt. That's one of my favorite belts. I think that's one of the better redesigns that they've ever done. I actually 100%. Like that a lot.
So that's number 8. Number 7, we have the current United States Championship.
See, I'll fight you on this one. I think it should be higher.
Really?
I love that belt. I think, to me, from like when you talk about redesign, it's got the eagle and the red, white, and blue. To me, that one, like that, when they were running that as the world title on Raw, it looked the part. They just didn't do a good job of booking it that way. But I'm glad it's on the list.
Yeah. Like in terms of redesign, like I agree. Like this is definitely one of the top belts that they've ever.
The old U.S. title always looked like a kid's belt to me.
It was just so small.
Yeah, it didn't look like it belonged.
Yeah. So number 6, we have the Big Eagle Championship, and this was the WWE Championship between 1998 and 2002. So
this is where I'm confused. So who held this belt? Give me somebody who held this belt.
Like The Rock, Stone Cold.
Okay, then I know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's the big circle one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot. That one got no complaints there from me.
So that's number 6. Number 5, I have the $1 Million Championship.
I like this. I like this.
Yeah.
I like that you brought this into the fold here.
It's got to be.
All the diamonds, oh man, love it. Yeah, it got brought back on NXT for a hot minute, right? Like LA Knight or somebody had it.
Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes. That's who it was.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Number 4, I have the WWE Undisputed Championship that was from 2002 to 2005. So Brock Lesnar. This is like Brock
Lesnar, right?
Eddie Guerrero.
Okay. I didn't watch a lot of wrestling during this time, but I can picture what that belt. That's a very like classic, straight up wrestling title to me.
Hell yeah. Clean. Just like you see it, that's important.
Definitely. I'm with you on that.
So number 3, I have.
So now we're top 3 here. You can bring the heat here.
So I'm bringing the heat. We have the Intercontinental Championship from 1988 through 98. So think Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon.
Which is before I watched wrestling, but I'm going to ask a question here. Is this what Cody Rhodes brought back?
It's similar, but it was a black strap. It was the black strap.
But the similar, like it had like plates that like kind of progressed.
Similar. Yeah, similar.
Okay.
Similar. Yeah.
I think I know what that looks like.
Okay. So number 2, I have the Big Gold World Heavyweight Championship. The one behind you. Yep.
This boy. Yeah, love this boy. Yep. That's one of my that may be my number 1 of all time. But I'm with you because I know what's left on your list.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. And I'm with you if we're going there.
So number 1, easy, the Winged Eagle Championship.
Yeah. Okay.
By far.
Okay.
By far.
Okay.
And then the honorary mention, the Hardcore Championship. And some people might question that, but I thought it was a cool looking belt.
I'm not questioning that at all. I'm not questioning like I could put that top 5 on a list based on it's different. You knew immediately when you saw it, you knew what was about to happen. You knew shit was about to go down. It was going to be a fun match to watch. And it had the look. I wished today the 24/7, such a missed opportunity. It should just go back to take the WWE belt right now, smash it up, and make another hardcore title and just defend it every so often. They don't have to bleed and shit. It's the principle of like the matches going to the back or chairs and shit like that.
Yeah. So again, 8 WWE World Heavyweight Championship, the current one. 7 United States Championship, current. 6 the WWE Big Eagle Championship. 5, the $1 Million Championship, 4, the Undisputed Championship from 02 to 05, 3, Intercontinental Championship from 88 to 98, 2, the Big Gold World Championship, and 1, the Winged Eagle, with the honorary mention being the Hardcore Championship.
So
where's
this bad boy fall?
That's not on my list.
Where's this bad boy?
That's not on my list, man.
What was wrong with this thing right here, Mike? You don't like the giant W?
Man, listen. That is just like my daughter could probably draw that up. Like that's not,
so from a marketing standpoint,
yeah,
it works because every time they give one out to a baseball or a basketball team, you immediately know. But it is definitely, I don't know that it should be the world, like it shouldn't be the main title of WWE. It should be more of like a vanity title in WWE. And then there should be, I would love, like what I've advocated for a long time is you got the World Heavyweight, the new one that you have on the list, real pretty belt. This should be a vanity title. This should be a thing that like The Rock wants to win. Okay. And then you should bring the Winged Eagle back, and that should be a grand champion. That should be the belt, and it should travel shows. Yeah. It should just be the prize that everybody wants to have. And it should only be defended at like the big four pay-per-views. That's what Roman should have had, was a belt like that, so that each show can still have that world, like, SmackDown can have a vanity title, Raw can have a workhorse title, but then you have that World Heavyweight Undisputed, and you can put it on The Rock because he only has to show up once every 4 months to defend it. Right. But I like this list, Mike. I like this list.
It's a solid list, in terms of what I think. So
no, I'm with you. I'm backing you up on this one. I'm there may be weeks we get get a little dicey, but I'm with you here. I like United States title, maybe. Well, based on what else you have on here, I can't make any arguments. But I really do like the new United States title. Don't love the new Intercontinental title. It looks weird to me. It's like holographic and shit. Yeah. Did this include NXT titles?
I did not include NXT.
Okay, so we could do a separate list later on.
We could do it.
Of NXT titles. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
all for that.
Absolutely.
All for that. All right, this has been another episode of the Casual Wrestling Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe, join the Discord, and follow us on social media. But before we get out of here, Mike, it is time for one final take. Who goes first this week?
I think it's me.
Go for it.
Tony Khan, you have really got to explain to me your booking style. You had Double or Nothing. All of your champions win, and then they come on the next week, and they're in matches defending their titles the same week. Makes zero sense. Nothing is following storyline. You have Roderick Strong, or whatever the hell his name is, challenging Swerve Strickland 1 week for a title, but then you have Ospreay winning some Casino Royale to face it's a big jumbled mess. All right, you gotta start figuring this out, because a casual fan like myself that will tune in once every 2-3 weeks wants to understand what the hell's going on. I follow on Twitter. I see what happens at Double or Nothing. I see your following show. I can't make out what's going on. Tony Khan, do better.
So I'm going at Tony Khan as well. $15 million for MJF, Tony Khan. It feels like you have completely fucked up the wrestling world of contracts. I don't know that we have the exact number of what Mercedes Moné is making, but I am assuming based on MJF and Mercedes Moné, that amount of money probably makes up 70% of what WWE pays their wrestlers. And that is absolutely insane to me. I mean, I know that it probably pays for the bottom third of the WWE roster, and that's crazy. Tony Khan, you got I know you claim to have unlimited money, or the IWC claims you have unlimited money, but at some point this shit is going to bite you in your ass, and when you sit down with a TV, right, or WB, they're going to look at you and go, you have all this money invested, and your ratings are still 600,000 a week. What are you doing, man?